Hey, I'm Mike.
And I'm Darin.
We're taking the week off.
Yeah.
Kinda.
We have spring break coming up.
Uh-huh.
And honestly, we didn't have enough to record 2 episodes. So what we're going to do is something very special. A little over a year ago, we recorded episode 24.
You look like you own a tractor.
Okay, and this was the first episode where we had a 2-mic system, and Mike and I both went back and we listened to this, and damn, if it's not a good episode.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, if you're going to listen to an episode over again, this is the one to listen to. Okay, so if you're new to the show, just forget that I said anything, and this is a brand new episode. If you're familiar with the show, listen to it again because there might be some surprises in it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got to come in with some energy, not like, hey. Now, I'm not saying that you do that. Just drool.
You're telling me to start the show with more energy. You're telling me this.
I mean,
when I'm the one every week, I'm like, "Hey, everybody," and you're like, "Hey, I'm Mike." So you're gonna tell me, "Okay, that's okay, no." You know what? What other suggestions do you have for me? What else can I do to help?
Do you have a different hat?
Bonjour, and welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome, the most popular podcast in France. Now, here are your hosts, Mike and Darin.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome. I'm Darin.
Mike.
How's it going,
It's
Mike?
me. I'm fine. I'm
good.
great.
Good. Was that good?
That was good.
Was that a good intro?
That's pretty good.
Because I've been told by some people that I don't have a lot of energy.
Well, you've pepped up, and I appreciate that.
Okay,
I appreciate that.
Thank you. I'm glad that I'm finally bringing it today on the premiere of our 2-microphone podcast.
Two
microphones and one turntable.
Two guys, one
2 guys,
thing.
2 mics. Nothing weird.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with. Hey, listen.
I'm
for 2 guys out there who share a mic. Let's just talk at the same time the whole podcast. I think if there's 2 guys and they're sharing one microphone, I don't see anything wrong with that. It's 2021.
No. Yeah, it is.
Okay,
it is.
There you go. Now I'll shut up so you can get a word in.
Okay, I don't want to talk. I'm apologize. Okay, so this is episode 24.
Yes, it is.
We've had 23 episodes.
Very good
prior
math,
to this.
Mike.
That's how that works. All 23 episodes have
epic.
used they've been
legendary.
They've been increasing in likeness that I like them.
You know what? I think so too.
Yeah, I like them more and more. Like I found myself not gagging when I have to edit.
There was a few of them that we did. Then while we were recording it, I thought, I don't know if that one's that great. And then I went back and listened to it.
Yeah,
and it was better than I thought.
Yeah.
So
there's times when we turn off the mics. Sorry, we're going to edit all this.
You know what? No. I want you to keep those in because I was listening to the last episode, and for people watching, there's a few people watching us on the Twitch.
Yeah.
But for people listening, Mike will constantly he'll be talking, and then the Monster Energy drink
it is not good for you.
400% gas.
Boy, it's not gas. It's like it's a combination of rage and energy that fuels this show. That's what fuels.
Thank God we have 2 mics
and 2 tables in between each other.
Yeah,
but no, I don't know what the hell that is.
But yeah, Mike's just
here's another thing that happens to me is when I yawn. This is embarrassing.
Okay.
And it happened to me a lot today at work, and they don't know me well enough at work for me to bring this out, but I'm going to say it here to all these strangers.
Right.
Is when I yawn, I tear up. Like I tear up like I'm watching a really sad movie, like I do in Braveheart.
Or Rocky.
Rocky.
Yeah.
I tear up. And sometimes an actual tear will come down. And even people who know me, like Bess, it happened to me at dinner last night.
Every time you yawn?
Every time I yawn, it slightly tears up. It doesn't always drop a tear, but it like wells up.
Okay.
And it's embarrassing because all through the day that was happening. I was yawning. And every time somebody looked at me, I'm like, I'm going to have to tell them that I'm not crying.
You're making
and that's
me yawn.
That's exactly what somebody who is tearing up doesn't want to say.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I'm not tearing up at your spreadsheet. It hasn't hit me that hard, you know? I don't, it's great. It's great. Those numbers look awesome, but it's not hit me in my spiritual moment.
That's like the best spreadsheet ever. God, and then you hug him.
I'm going to run with it one of these
Smack
days.
him on the butt. Yeah.
I'm just going to be like, and here you see that the crop report is, Mike, are you okay? It's just so beautiful. There it is. There's the first quack of the night.
You see, and I said,
that's another thing.
I told myself on the way over here that I am not going to use any language tonight.
We lost half of our listeners.
There you go. Great. That's fantastic.
Okay.
So,
you're not going to use any language. Okay. I'm going to try not to.
My goal is to not use any language. So you won't have to, but even though I like hearing the quacks, I have TMJ. So when I yawn, my jaw pops.
Okay.
When I chew, my jaw pops.
Okay.
And Libby and the boys, they can hear it popping from across the table at dinner and everything else. And but sometimes when I yawn, my jaw will lock open. And then
you look like a carp that made a bad decision.
And I have to like hit my jaw to knock it loose.
Really?
Yes. It's great. It's awesome to be me. It's awesome to be me. And I did it one night, and Libby, didn't know that I occasionally just beat the crap out of my face to get my jaw to close. She's like, "What is wrong with you?" Which she's said many, many times.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have to knock my jaw loose.
Well, I think I've said this before in the show. Is that I've gotten this new thing. It's just within 2020, wherein if I'm coughing, like I'll cough to cough up the phlegm,
the phlegm.
Yeah, the phlegm. Sometimes it'll take me a bit to get it up if I drank a lot of milk or something like that, or ate a lot of, not drank a lot of milk, ate a lot of ice cream. That's what I meant to say.
Right.
And I found that if I go, it'll, I don't know why, it just shoots right up and it's gone. And I've gotten used to doing it by myself. I'll be down here on the Xboxes or the PlayStations or listening to the vinyls, and I'll just be doing that. And I get so used to doing it that when I get around other people, like my family, and I do it randomly, the fork dropped the first time Bess saw me do that. She thought that I was having some kind of stroke or something. Right. Because you've never seen me do that. That's striking.
Cough and then
yeah. And I don't know what it is. There's some weird thing that makes it oscillate back up.
It's
beautiful.
That's hot.
We gained a viewer on that.
Yeah. And you seriously called your albums the vinyls.
The vinyls.
Yeah. Okay.
Not like those hoity-toity people that call them vinyls. Well, one of the boring, here's what I was thinking is we have bonus shows.
Yeah.
Like beyond the stupid, when are you going to start, when are you going to, that stuff. Like we'll have a vinyl show where we'll go through Mike's vinyls.
Oh, okay.
Not like it's part of the podcast, but a stream.
No, I thought you were going to release a show just on vinyl. And then on album day, you could go and get the unaired episode on vinyl.
How much does it take to cut a vinyl?
I don't know.
If we gave someone a copy of this, if we had a really good, if we had a show, there's one of those shows where we turn it off and angels are singing and we're like, my God, should we even continue?
It's the best podcast ever.
It's
and
done.
On a high note,
it's over.
It's our stairway to heaven.
And we want to have that pressed. Mm-hmm. There's money for that.
Yeah, money that we would spend to do that.
Yeah,
ain't nobody gonna buy us on vinyl. But I would like to see the album cover. I'd like to see the artwork.
Judging from the records from our merchandise sales, you're exactly right. Ain't nobody gonna buy it.
That's exactly right. But I would like
gift. For the loyal listeners.
Yeah, all four of them.
Yeah.
Well, listen, for the past 3 weeks, I have said we have viewer questions. We haven't got to the viewer questions because neither of us will shut up.
Okay.
And we go on and on and on. So tonight,
this feels very threatening.
I promise we're going to do viewer questions.
Okay.
We're going to do viewer questions. I have a very good and I think I have a just stop. Okay. I do have a just stop. But I promise we are going to get to viewer questions. And you know what? Let's get to the listener questions now.
You want to do it early?
I'm going to do the listener questions now.
We need a sound cue for that.
Okay.
Something.
Listener questions. Okay. So this was from 3 weeks ago.
All right.
And it was a very good question. Steve Farrell has asked both of us if we had intro music. Anytime you walk into a room or you're a guest on a talk show, when you walk in, what would your intro music be? So I was thinking about this. This reminded me of watching Letterman, Late Show with David Letterman.
Yeah.
Paul Schaefer had a knack for anytime someone would come on the show, he would have a song that fit them. Like Michael J. Fox would come on, he'd play Foxy Lady.
Yeah.
Al Franken came on and they would do Frankenstein.
Okay.
So if I was ever a guest on the Late Show, I imagine that they might do Splish Splash, which is a Bobby Darin song, right? Or Mac the Knife.
Okay.
Or they might do the theme from Bewitched.
Okay.
Because Darin was
on
Bewitched.
Yeah.
So, one of those would be cool if I were to be on Letterman.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that since this podcast is so stinking popular, my intro music would be the intro music for this show.
The theme song.
The theme song.
Intro music.
The theme from Irritable Dad Syndrome.
Yeah, I think I would pick the lounge music theme that we debuted in the last one.
Yeah.
Complete with the record scratch.
Yep.
And that would be me opening the door for whatever room it's coming into. And then just lounge music across and sit down.
Yeah, we debuted the record scratch last week. I don't know why we're calling attention to it. But my favorite part about albums is they're just great for people who like to listen to 3 or 4 songs and then take a break. Yeah. So Lisa has asked, what's the proper way to make a PB&J?
Okay.
And so I don't know that there's an improper way to make a PB&J. I know my wife doesn't like the jelly to be globby. She does not like the crusts on her PB&J.
Well, you don't want to.
She also doesn't like when you bite into it, it spurts out the sides, and it's got to be spread all the way.
How much jelly are you putting on this thing?
I don't know how hard are you squeezing it is my question.
Yeah,
because I can put a lot of jelly on it.
Okay,
and I can handle it.
That's what she said.
I know. Wait, what? So for people who are fascinated by this, you put peanut butter on one piece of bread, jelly on the other piece of bread, and then you fold them together.
Yeah.
And you leave the crusts on.
Okay.
Because crust is bread.
That's
and
how
bread
that works.
is good.
Yeah.
And you eat the bread. All right. So
I'm starting to lose track of what I've talked about, what I haven't.
Oh, I am too. Yeah, absolutely.
But I noticed that episodes that referenced some form of parenting or responsibility seem to get more downloads.
Yeah.
And then other ones didn't. Like the episode title that has thermal detonators. Mm-hmm. People hate that. And the Halloween episode, those 2 episodes are our least favorite.
Yeah.
But our top episodes are 1, did your parents supervise you at all? And there's a few of them in there that sound like if you saw it and you saw the show title as Irritable Dad Syndrome, you would think, oh, this is a parenting podcast. I'm going to learn something. Well, I wonder how many of those people listen to like 2 minutes and are like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, judging by the title, you would think that we would have more about kids that make us irritable.
Yeah.
So maybe that should be our goal.
Yeah.
To live up to the name of the podcast.
No.
Yeah.
We should have named it something that was very ambiguous, but I thought.
I like the name of the podcast.
I like the name of the podcast.
So.
Yeah.
All right. So Chris Hughes, who's banned from the show.
Okay. Then don't read his question.
It's a good question.
Okay.
It's a good question. He asked what your worst cat experience is. So for me, every experience with a cat is my worst because I don't like cats.
Yeah.
My mom is deathly allergic to cats. My brother's allergic to cats. I'm not a fan. My favorite cat experience has got to be there was an episode of Looney Tunes.
Okay.
Where Sylvester the cat chasing Tweety Bird.
The putty tag.
I taught a putty tag.
Yeah, I did.
Sylvester.
I did.
I did taught a putty tag.
You got to say the whole thing.
Well, you don't, but
you do.
You can. Whatever.
In my house, you do.
Why are you yelling? Calm down. Jeez. So Sylvester the cat is chasing Tweety, and for whatever reason, he gets behind the TV, and the mom turns on the TV, and he's inside, and so he acts like he's inside, and he starts doing a cat food commercial, and he says, "Pussykins cat food tastes real good, satisfies cats like a cat food should, hardens their muscles, softens their fur, Pussykins cat food makes them purr." That's my favorite cat experience.
Your favorite.
That's my favorite
cat experience.
Yes.
I had one cat growing up, and we were very good at naming animals. We called her Kitty.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Where did you come up with that?
And I know I've talked about her on our show before, but no one remembers. She was it was in a rainstorm, and she was in a tree outside my window, and she was meowing like crazy. And my dad had to go out in the rain, get a ladder.
Did he have his gun?
No, he didn't. Not that time.
Get out of that damn tree.
And he got it down. And then it was like the next day, we had it that night. And then the next day, my mom was like, we're going to get rid of that cat because we're a dog family. We had like dogs everywhere.
Right.
The neighborhood dogs, they were like a dog gang. So we had, like, we personally only had 2 or 3 dogs at any given time, but there would be like 8 dogs in our yard from around the neighborhood. Her version of getting rid of the cat was drive the cat around the block and let it out of the car.
Around the block?
Around the block. Like, and we got around the block, and then neither one of us could do it. We both got attached to the cat. And we said, we're going to name her Kitty, take her home. She hated everyone in the family except me, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. My dad would try to pet her and say, hey, she would hiss. She was one of those hissers and like scratch. She did that to everybody, but with me, she would purr and be all over me. Anyway, that's my favorite cat experience is that one cat. Cats are kind of like, it's one of those things like if you say, let's go look at that cat or let's go talk to a cat, it's like, I don't know. But then when you get there and the cat's there, as long as it's not like one of those hideous cats, I can be okay with a cat walking around. But I'm never going to. Now, if somebody says, let's go see the puppy, I'll go see the puppy at any moment of my life, any hour of the day. If there's a puppy to be seen, I'll go see it.
Well, we used to have an apartment in Kentucky, third story apartment.
Yeah.
And we came home one night and there was this little kitty, cute little cat outside our door. And it just had these big eyes like, hey, mister, do you have any food in there? Maybe, and boy, it sure does look warm in there. Yeah. And I was like, no, go away.
They're like vampires. You invite them in and it's over.
And they never go away.
Yeah.
But it started getting colder and colder. So I put out I had tuna fish.
Yeah.
Stupid. I put the tuna fish out. Oh my God. The cat devoured it.
Yeah.
And we put out some water and it kept getting colder and the cat kept coming back to our house.
Yeah.
And we don't want a cat and we're not going to bring the cat in the apartment. And then we set out a box with blankets in it so the cat could stay warm.
Yeah.
And I thought someone's going to find this cat, right? It's got to be, somebody's going to come looking and find their cat.
Yeah.
Cat kept coming back to our house.
Yeah.
So I went to work.
Nobody looks for cats, by the way.
Yeah.
You never see a lost cat poster.
I went to work. That's true.
You always see
never
lost
see
dogs.
a missing cat.
Occasionally you see a missing kid poster.
Yeah.
Usually people go to the police for that.
On the milk carton.
Yeah. But cats, no. It's like, oh, good.
But I went to work and I was asking around. I'm like, this cat keeps coming to my apartment. I'm certain that it's a stray because no one's asked, would anybody want a cat? And so my buddy Scott says, all right, I'll check it out. He comes and looks at it and says, okay, I'll keep it.
Like he's looking at a used car.
Exactly.
Checking its suspension.
Kick the tires, yeah. So he takes the cat.
Yeah.
He goes and takes it to the vet, gets like $150 worth of shots, buys a crate for it.
Okay.
And he buys, like I said, the shots and crate and food and all
What's
that
that stuff that gets him high? Catnip.
I don't know if he got any catnip or
cat
not.
hookah that comes off.
I think he did buy like a toy thing for it, So he gets probably $240 worth of stuff for this cat.
He went all in on the cat.
Yeah. Takes it home to his apartment and cat's walking around a little bit. Scott, that morning he's going to work, opens the door. Stupid cat ran off.
Yeah.
And he's out there,
As
you
they do.
black cat.
Cats are.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. And so after we all got off work, we went to his house and walked around. We could not find that cat. And so the cat's like, son of a, I was in Kentucky and now I'm in the west side of Cincinnati.
Well, that part, that aspect of cats, the fact that they don't care and they're jerks.
They don't care. They'll walk by. They'll put their butt right in your face.
That part, well, not the butt part, but the part that they're jerks makes me kind of want a cat. Because, there's times when I want to be left alone and to have an animal walk around and then all of a sudden get up and leave and just be able to say, yeah, screw you two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's fun about, when we, a bunch, we're all like working from home. Well, most of us are working from home.
Yeah.
And whenever we have our Zoom meeting or our Teams meeting for our sales department, this woman I work with, Jill, she has 2 cats, Crimson and Clover. Okay. Cool names for cats.
Yeah.
But every single time she's on her meeting, the cat just walks on her keyboard with just butt right in her face every single time. I'm like, tell your cat hi, Jill. So So good question. Good question. Logan Sand wants to know, where do babies come from? I think he's got the wrong podcast.
I think he does.
I think he does. Because Logan, when a man and woman,
how old is Logan?
He's old enough to know.
Okay,
and he's married.
Yeah.
So, wow. Hey, Logan, go to our website and we'll send you a pictorial. And then our last question, Lisa B asked, "Have you ever seen a Gladiator movie?"
Yes.
Yeah.
She's trying to be like all airplaney.
Yeah, she's trying to be cute.
Yeah.
But
I think after Gladiator, that it was done. That was like, what? We don't need any more.
And I didn't like Gladiator. I was not a fan.
How are we friends? How is that? How are we friends?
I don't know.
You don't like John Wick. You don't like Gladiator. Why didn't you like Gladiator?
I was bored. It was way too long.
Okay.
I couldn't get into it.
Okay.
Joaquin Phoenix, not a fan of him, and I like him.
Yeah.
Not a fan of him in that movie.
He was really, really good at being a bad guy.
Yes.
Like really.
Yeah. He
really didn't.
I'll have to watch. You know what? It's been so long. I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah. That was like one of the best parts of the thing was how much you wanted to see him. He was like Joffrey in Game of Thrones.
Oh, I could not stand Joffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, Joffrey's the worst. Could not wait for him to. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. For
Joffrey to bite it.
Yeah.
For him to die. So
yeah.
And
he does it in spectacular fashion too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So so last week, thanks for all your questions. If you have any other questions, drop us a message on our Facebook page, email us, go to our Twitter, go to our Instagram, do any of that stuff and send us your
Instagram.
That's what I said, Instagram.
Okay. You've been listening to Irritable Dad Syndrome. Unless your name is Chris Hughes, he should not be listening because he's banned and he sucks. But we want to thank everybody else for listening.
You know, it reminded me of the Boba Fett. It reminded me of a Nate Bargatz comedy routine. Have you watched either of his specials on Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay, one of them, he and his wife have the big argument over One Fell Swoop.
I don't remember that.
Okay, because she kept saying it's one fell swoop. We're going to go home. We're going to visit my mom and dad in one fell swoop. It's going to be one fell swoop. Whoever taught her one fell swoop, I mean, she decided I'm going to use this word 40 times in the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it in one fell swoop. And so she says what we're going to do when we go, her parents are divorced. What we're going to do is when we drive down, we're going to see my mom on Monday. We'll come home and then we'll go see my dad on Tuesday. And he's like, well, that's not one fell swoop. And then she says, yeah, it is, I think. And they had gotten this argument over what one fell swoop means. And then it got to the point where she wouldn't talk to him. And they went to bed angry. You're not supposed to go to bed angry.
Yeah.
And so they went to bed angry. They woke up. And that next morning, he thought about it for a long time. And then he just looked at her and says, look, that's just not what that means. So I could totally see that woman, her husband, pulling her aside after the conversation. It's not Bobo Fett, it's Boba Fett. Last week you were talking about salsa, and the week before you were talking about salsa, and I believe the show before that you were talking about salsa.
When you leave, I'm going to get some salsa.
You're going to talk about salsa. Yeah. So what's funny was we recorded our last episode, and you told your story about dropping salsa on your kid's eye, which makes you Father of the Year, of course. The very next morning, I'm driving my kid to school, and on the way back, I'm listening to the Bob and Tom show, and one of the guys on Bob and Tom was talking about, what do you do when you have all the crumbly chips that you can't pick up and can't scoop?
Oh, yeah.
So what you do is you pour salsa on top of that, eat it with a spoon.
Oh my Lord! I never thought of doing that.
And I'm like, Mike probably invented that, but you've never heard about that.
No.
Yeah.
It's like a feat of engineering.
Uh-huh.
I create it's like those movies with the nano machines that all come together, like the Transformers and stuff.
Right.
Like I get them all in there and create an uber chip.
Yep.
And get it, and then your fingers get in there, and it's nasty, and you're cussing, but it's good.
Yeah.
I dig. This happens all night. By the way,
we're at Mike's house. Yeah. We're in what we call Studio B.
Yeah.
When we first started recording this podcast, we were doing it in my basement, in my movie room, and what it looks like we're going to do it permanently here.
I don't want to move all this
because we've got all our cameras, all our microphones, and everything set up on 2 tables.
Yeah.
And a microphone and a turntable. What?
Yeah.
But anyway, Where was I going? What was I talking about?
Oh, the murder-suicide that sounds like it's happening right above our heads.
So Mike's kids are having a blast up in the kitchen, which is fine. I'm not sure if you're picking that up on the audio or not, but we can edit all that. We'll fix it in post.
I've heard Charlie once on the podcast, like way in the back.
Yeah.
I bleeped him out.
Yeah.
But yeah, this happens. It gets worse and worse.
My kids did that when they were younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, they outgrow that.
Yeah.
So speaking of my kids, my youngest son Cameron, the other day, he out of nowhere, he asks my wife, he says, "Mom, can I eat a cotton ball?" My wife was like, "No." And he goes, "Come on, please." And she says, "No." And he goes, "Elf did it." And Libby's like, "Fine. Eat all the cotton balls you want.
Yeah.
Go ahead."
Did he eat a cotton ball?
She let him do it.
Yeah.
And so he goes and he gets the bag and he's so excited. So excited. He puts it in his mouth. What? And he's like, "What did you let me do that for?" And Libby's like, "Hey man, you wanted to do it." I think she and I are both past that point. It's like,
just go for it.
Like Jeff Foxworthy, they said, that'll hurt when you put, it's like, the kids putting the fork into the electric outlet. That'll hurt. Learned your lesson, didn't it? Yeah, just let him do it. Yeah. And he hasn't done it again.
Yeah.
But he ate a cotton ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just got on the honor roll. I'm like, how? There's, it doesn't add up.
What is he? Is he 13?
He's going to be 13 in May.
He's going to be 13.
He's going to be 13. Okay. Yeah, okay. If we let him.
Yeah, Andrew got a haircut today.
Okay.
And he just looks like a guy that lives in our house. Because he's had like the longer kid hair forever. And like I came home and there's just like a dude walking around. Like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I'll have to check it out. Jacob, my oldest son has been letting his hair ride since last March.
Yeah.
He wanted to let it ride. And so it's down to his shoulders. His bangs come down to his chin. Yeah. But it was getting kind of rat nesty. Yeah. It was looking kind of rank, and he was sitting at the dinner table one night and Cameron looked at him and he says, "You know what? You look like you own a tractor." So anyway, Jacob's hair was getting long, and I took it to my friend Erin Durbin, right around the corner. She lives in our neighborhood. She cut it and it looks great. So,
oh wow,
yeah. Okay, Erin and Jason are big fans of the show.
She sent the picture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She sent us the Irritable Dad Syndrome inspired photo at the self checkout lane at Kroger with the bone sucking mustard and the Tillamook cheese. Yeah, she actually bought that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, I asked her how the bone sucking mustard was, and she hasn't tried it yet. So
have you ever tried it?
I have not. I don't like mustard.
So you advertise it, but you don't try it.
No, I'm happy to take their money.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, all right, they're the official sponsor of the show until they tell us to quit mentioning it.
I bought a cheese grater this week.
Okay. Ooh, that sounds exciting. You didn't invite me?
It took a long time to find one. You would think because I had an idea. I was like, I want to get a cheese grater.
What, Bed Bath & Beyond?
Best doesn't even ask why anymore. Right. When I say these things, it used to be, why do you want a cheese grater?
To grate cheese.
Yeah, exactly. I had that answer ready, but now I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
smart. Why do you want a hard-boiled egg slicer, Mike? Yeah. To slice my hard-boiled eggs.
So anyway, I'm looking around at Kroger. I thought it would be easy. I thought you just go back to the cheese section. That's
you got to go to Target or the Walmart.
You go to the what do you call that? The cutlery. I know this is not what cutlery is in sign language, but it's like
you go to the kitchen section, the kitchen aisle. That's where you get your spatulas.
It was like in the bottom of a thing at the whatever. It took a long time to find.
You need to learn more words.
I do.
You really? I've said it before.
I don't care.
It was at the bottom of a thing.
I don't care that I can't speak, which is terrible for a podcast.
Well, you can't think of words, and I can't stop stammering and forgetting people's names and where I was, and that thing that I was thinking of.
There's a point where both of us.
I don't know why anybody listens to this show.
You know how annoying we are to listen to? Soundbite. You guys think this sucks. The live thing must really be bad because I listen to this back when I'm editing. Yeah. I just did it.
Yeah.
When I'm editing, I do that. I repeat stuff.
I do that too
constantly.
Yeah.
And I am up there. I've been up there before editing with the headphones on. Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh my god. And Bess is like, well, what are you doing? I was like, I'm listening to myself. I'm cutting these things out, as we go. Most of them I keep in because I just don't have the strength, nor do I care that much. But every once in a while, I do it to the point where I was like, I got to get that out of there, or somebody's going to call somebody to have this shut down.
Yeah.
And then you go off on your things too.
I know.
We each have our own thing.
We do. I think that's what makes the show special.
It is, and it makes the people who watch the Twitch stream
love us
special.
even more.
Well, it's because they get the brunt of it. They get the heart. This is like warts and all. Just because they want to hear an unquacked naughty word
warts
once in a while.
And all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
So, have you watched WandaVision yet?
No, I've thought about it, but I haven't watched it.
So, we watched episode 4.
Okay.
And episode 4 finally looks like a Marvel show.
Okay.
I've talked about it on this podcast before. Episode 1 was really weird.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny. There's a laugh track and it was annoying. Episode 2 was the same way. Episode 1 was set in the 50s, 2 was set in the 60s, 3 is set in the 70s.
Okay.
And at the end of episode 3, they give us a glimpse of hope that this is finally going to turn into a damn Marvel series, you know. Episode 4, bam, here we go.
Yeah.
Put your seatbelt on, get ready for action, right?
It goes there.
Yeah, it finally goes there. Well, here's this me off. So a friend of mine posted this article on his Facebook page. A critic was talking about WandaVision.
Yeah.
And his quote was, a lot of people were upset and complained that the first 3 episodes were very slow. Well, I say they don't remember how to watch TV.
Oh, for God's
like, you know what? You can go screw yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's obsolete.
Yeah.
That's like saying people don't remember how to read newspapers anymore. No,
they
because we don't read newspapers anymore,
Right.
Mark.
Right.
We go online and we get our news. We get it on our phone. We get it on our computer.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's like people don't watch TV hardly anymore.
I have a problem with people that have. I'm going off on a tangent here.
Okay.
But I have a problem with people that have nostalgia for things that they never experienced when they were a thing.
Right.
So, like the vinyl thing.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm allowed to buy vinyl records because
vinyl's making a comeback.
I know, but it shouldn't.
They've been saying that for 12 years.
I grew up with them, and it is kind of cool, you know, the larger artwork and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But then when you talk to like a 20 or 30 something year old's like, yeah, man, back in the day, vinyl. No, back in the day, when cassette tapes came out,
yes,
people were like, "Oh my God, this is so much better."
Yes,
this is and then when CDs, I remember my first ever CD player. That was like space age.
Yeah,
it was like, listen to how much better this is than those crappy, scratchy.
I don't have to flip
it. Yeah, and I don't have to
flip it over.
I don't have to pretend like I'm moving the Ark of the Covenant to put it down on the thing.
They
and
send it in a box that's like 3 feet tall.
And when
they killed 2 trees to make the cardboard,
I don't have to pretend that every song on this disc is precious. I can go
and
go up to the 4th track, which is the only one I ever really listened to anyway. Nobody bought the Right Said Fred vinyl for anything other than I'm Too Sexy. Admit it. And it wasn't the first track. You know, you had to dig for that thing.
You know a lot about Right Said Fred.
I know he said things right.
Right.
But the point is that you're not allowed to feel nostalgia for it unless I think you lived with it.
Were you a fan of hair metal?
Back in the day, I wasn't, but I kind of did. Like I saw Dokken.
Right.
Recently, like a few years.
Dokken?
I have a shirt that says "Rockin' with Dokken." I watched them in a rainstorm, and I mean recently, within the past 3 years.
I remember because
somebody's house.
No, you asked me. You said, "Hey, you want to go out in the middle of a field, and see Dokken
that show?"
And you said, "Yeah, it's like $37 a person." And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna pass,
dude,"
because it was like 3 years before that. A buddy of mine who. Okay, so my wife and his wife worked together, and they were friends. They all came over. For a barbecue, cookout, something or whatever. And I start talking with her husband. Yeah. And just the first time I met him, you know, he just looked way too clean cut to hang out with a loser like me, right? Yeah. He looked just like, you know, the only thing he wants to talk about is stationery and fiscal year, and just he just looked way too clean cut for me. We start talking. Turns out this guy went to see Pantera and knew everything about Kiss and Motorhead and Motorhead, Megadeth. That's a movie you don't want to rent with the family around. And so we start talking, and he knew all these metal bands.
Yeah.
And when I lived in Johnson City, Tennessee in the 80s, there wasn't anything else to do.
Yeah.
But the only thing that ever came to town was metal concerts.
Yeah.
So I mean, I saw, I don't know how many metal concerts I've seen.
Yeah.
You name them, I've probably seen them live.
I saw,
and we just went to metal show after metal show after metal show.
I saw awesome. Motley Crue so much, and I never listened to any of their albums. I saw them so many times with Fancher and everybody else that I knew the words to the songs when I first bought actually, I never even bought an album. It's just I was into streaming music by the time I actually started listening to them on my own. And so I've seen Dokken, just a few. Kiss, I've seen them a few times.
Yeah, I've seen Kiss. I don't know how many times, 9, 10 times I've seen Kiss.
But no, I wasn't really into. I was like anti-hair metal back in the day, and then as I've gotten older, I like it more. So like, I know you don't watch Cobra Kai, but that's like one of the things with Johnny Lawrence. He's always got hair metal playing on his thing. Yeah.
Well, no, as far as
I did like John Bon Jovi.
As far as I saw Bon Jovi on the New Jersey tour. Yeah, they were incredible. Yeah, they were really, really good. They opened up with "Lay Your Hands on Me." Yeah. Good stuff.
Okay.
Hey, yeah, it was really cool.
I used to play when I was in 8th grade. This is going to date me. I was in 8th grade when New Jersey came out.
Yeah,
that's the one with Bad Medicine.
Yep.
I think. Yeah.
Yep.
And I used to play Super Mario Brothers with the sound turned way down and my boom box with New Jersey.
You must have been rich.
While I was
rich
playing.
People called it a boom box and poor people called it their ghetto blaster.
I also carried same boom box around the block. Now this is
on your shoulder?
Yes.
For, like if you had a breakdance battle?
Listen to me. I grew up in a very rural area. So when I'm walking around the block with a boombox on my shoulder, I'm not getting, there's not like people going, yeah, there's like people out in the porch going, that kid's not right. And I remember distinctly doing that, playing Rock Me Amadeus by Falco.
Falco, yeah. Yes.
Over and over. And I would stop, rewind the tape because it was the first song on the tape.
Yep.
And keep walking.
That was
with me and a buddy of mine.
It was the only song on the tape. Yeah. It's like, everybody carried around those big, gigantic boom boxes. Yeah. And the people at Sony were like, there's got to be a smaller way to do this. So they invented the Walkman.
Yeah.
And I had a Walkman. You had a Walkman, right?
Yeah.
And then
I had a Discman.
You had a Discman?
Yeah.
Yeah, or Discman.
Discman.
I had a Discman.
I had an MP3 when the MP3 players first came out. I had like a not when they first came out, but they, it's on everybody's phone now, but back then I had a little red one. It just had a play, a forward, and a pause. No back. Like if you played the song and you wanted to hear it again, sorry. Yeah. You have to wait until it loops back around, and it would hold like 100 songs. So this was massive storage.
Oh, 100
It was amazing.
Songs.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is back when nobody bought any music online. It was all pirated. You would see something that said, I still haven't found what I'm looking for, and you'd play it, and it would be like a Motorhead remix of something. You'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah, I remember. Well, we were talking about Dokken.
Yeah,
but
Rockin' with Dokken.
Yeah, not many years ago, probably 6 or 7 years ago, Poison came to town.
Okay,
and my buddy wanted to go see Poison.
Yeah,
and I've seen Poison.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, I had nothing better to do. It was a night out.
I've never seen Poison. I would like to see.
Yeah.
Poison.
Anyway, Dokken opened up for him, and so well, I've officially seen Dokken now. Scratch that off the list. But yeah, hair metal in its day was great.
So Don Dokken, when we saw him, so it was literally out in a field.
Yeah.
And it was at I want to say the people in the area called it a bar, but it was basically somebody's house that had a bar. And it was like in the middle of nowhere. And we're in the back, I'll call it the backyard. and a rainstorm hit, and there was nothing. There was nowhere. It would be like being in our backyard. What are you going to do? You're not going to come.
I've performed in your backyard.
You have.
Yes.
It's exactly like that. So we just decided, well, we're getting drenched. At the time, my phone
might as well take off our shirt.
Yeah, my phone was in one of those like super protective things. So I was like, that's gonna. This is how much of a nerd and a dad I was at the time. This is how recent it was. I was like the whole time. I was like, yeah, my phone's totally protected from the elements right now. I could be submerged up to 6 meters.
To 6 meters,
and it would be fine.
Yep.
But they were doing their encore, and I remember Jim was telling me something about how many encores they were supposed to do. And it just randomly
how many
at the end
do they have?
Randomly at the end of
in
one
my
of the
dreams?
At the end of one of the songs, Dokken said, "Well, we had one more to play, but my leg hurts, so see ya." And he walked off stage, and we did just what you're doing. We're like, "That's awesome!" And they were like hardcore Dokken people were like, "What the hell?" A bunch of quacking stuff that I would have to quack if I said it. It was amazing.
Well, as long as they did in my dreams.
They probably did.
And then,
I don't know. They did the
don't leave them
chains.
hanging.
They did the chain song, and that if I played, I don't know the name of it, but if I played it, you would
I can't
break
think
the
of it
chain
anymore.
or pull my chain or chained greased lightning, something like that.
Pull My Chain by Dokken. That was their huge hit. That went to number 2.
That was a sequel to Pull My Finger.
Yeah.
But yeah, but anyway, the merchandise table. So you go to concerts. They have the merch table with all the T-shirts and all the stuff, in the back. This one was literally a table, literally the size of the table that you're at right now, with a couple of older ladies and just stacks of T-shirts and trash bags. And, it's like, "You want a shirt?" "Yeah, what kind you got?" And because I didn't see any, I just saw these trash bags. And they're like, "We got large, extra large, 2 extra large. We got small if you got kid." Yeah, it was like that guy. He's like that guy, and I'm like, "Is it
one for you, boy?"
I was like, "Is it just one type of shirt?" "It's the tour shirt," and I've got it. It's up there in my Rockin' with Dokken. I bought it. I buy a shirt at every show. It's my souvenir. I do.
Yeah.
I bought this shirt.
Yeah.
The streamed show. So I didn't even technically go to this one.
From a stream.
But we watched it on a stream. So they had a tour T-shirt.
As
October
my friend
30th.
Chad would say, you are such a consumer.
You
are such a consumer.
I am, but I'm a very specific consumer.
Right. Well, the other night, we're at the house, and we're listening. The boys are doing dishes, and we always ask Alexa to play music when we're doing dishes. And I, out of nowhere, Alexa started rapping.
What?
Alexa started rapping.
Okay.
She busted into a rap about Jackie Robinson. And I'm like, is this to celebrate Black History Month?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. And I meant to have us try and do the research and have it ready because I know people won't believe me.
Yeah.
But Alexa busted into a rap about Jackie Robinson. And you never realize just how white Alexa sounded until she starts rapping.
Yeah.
She was rapping.
Yeah. We don't have Alexa.
You don't have Alexa? Okay.
No, we do the Google. We have a Google Nest.
Yeah.
And does Alexa, because we can tell Google.
It's a different voice.
Yeah, I understand that. But
the Google chick is way more
the Google
British
chick will
than Alexa.
tell jokes. She's
And
like,
they
tell
hate
me a
each other.
joke.
Yeah.
Or you say, what does a duck sound like? And they'll play a quack.
Uh-huh.
That's worth the price of admission right
now,
there.
My son has the Google device in his room.
Okay.
And then my other son has an Alexa. And I bet you that they hate each other.
They ever fight? Yeah, I was going to say they have to
you
fight.
whore, and they're just constantly like, "I'll tell you what time it is." You know, you don't need to ask that Google what time it is. I know what time it is.
That's right.
I can just imagine that we're going to have like an Age of Ultron Jarvis thing where one tries to take over the other one and turns into like a super dominant.
Oh my God! So you've got Alexa, which is backed by the richest man in the universe,
right? Paul McCartney,
right? And then you've got Google, backed by the deep state super network that's like turning everyone into the Matrix. those two fighting one another. It is. It's like what's the guy in Austin Powers? The
Dr. Evil.
Dr. Evil versus
Austin Powers. Who's that guy from Austin Powers? He's the one. He had the teeth. It's funny as hell.
I was trying to think of another bad
dude,
guy.
Now, he's funny. What the hell is his name?
Agent Smith. So I have a story where I think I was mistaken for a child predator, and this just happened a couple of days ago.
Okay.
So Charlie was jacked. I'm like, let's go to the park, buddy. So we go to the park.
Okay.
And
he was hyper. Okay, typically jacked means that like he'd been working out.
We just say jack. We use none of us know words, so we just pick a word and we use it for multiple reasons, multiple things. We manage to communicate with each other. Whether or not our children will be able to communicate with the world when they leave the nest, it doesn't bother me.
And that's not your. That's
my
up
concern.
to them. It's up to them.
Anyway, he wanted to play outside. So we went outside to play for a little bit, and, we don't have a whole lot of things to play with. So I'm like, buddy, you want to go to the park?
Right.
So he's like, yeah, we'll go to the park. We're going to go to the VOA park. So we get to the VOA park. He's playing around on the stuff. There's nobody there, okay? He wants to play hide and seek.
Mm-hmm.
So picture in your mind, I don't know if you can remember the play set at VOA park. There is one tree, a trash can, and there's a play set. And that was in the boundary. So the first place I hid was the tree. Okay, it's way off to the edge of the playground. He's counting for a minute because, it's going to take a while to figure out a place to hide. So I run and I'm hiding behind the tree. And I'm looking. I picked that because I can look through the branches at him counting and know when he's like about to find me or not. So this car of ladies comes through.
And you're this guy
of moms
behind a tree.
Yeah, I'm the guy bent over. Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse. I'm bending over. I'm bending over in the hands on my knees. I'm staring at this little boy, and then he
you were rubbing your hands together
because they were cold. No, they were cold. They were cold. Dude, let me paint the whole picture for you.
Okay.
I'm bent over. I'm like this. I'm like looking, and Charlie thinks he saw me, but he wasn't sure. So he looks over, and the way he's looking, I know him. And I know what I know he's thinking is that dad. But the way he looked like wide-eyed, like this. And then he goes to pretend like he's playing. In his mind, he's going to act casual, but then keep an eye on me. So he keeps playing like he's playing by himself, but then he keeps looking over his shoulder, like that, and staring. And the whole time, I'm like this. They stared at me for a very uncomfortable amount of time. And I started giggling to myself, which made looked worse to them because now I'm starting to giggle because I know what it looks like, and I'm waiting for this confrontation to happen. I was waiting for them to come over and accuse me of stalking my own son, but they just drove away, which made me like, what the hell?
Right.
You invested all this time. You were on your way somewhere. You stopped. You see a man, you see a child who looks obviously uncomfortable, and you're like, it's cold out. Let's go. Let's go to Target.
Well, you're the only ones there.
Yes.
So they probably just like, they're probably together.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But no, it would have been great had they waited around a little just to make sure.
I was waiting for it to come.
You didn't have like a whole bag of suckers in your pocket, did you?
No.
You drove your white van to the park that day. Yeah.
If I'd been thinking when I looked over and saw him, I would have like hidden behind the tree from them and then looked, out. But I didn't. I wasn't that swift.
You remember Chick-fil-A? You ever been to a Chick-fil-A?
I've been there. Once or twice.
Many times.
Yeah.
When my kids were little,
chicken fillet.
They would go to the chicken fillet, and they would go into the playground there, and sometimes there'd be 3 or 4 or
they get
more
the
kids,
COVID.
And they would play hide and seek. In the Chick-fil-A playground. And there's 2 places to hide: in the car. And in the car, I'm like
in the engine compartment and the trunk.
Exactly. And Libby and I, we would just watch and like, how? And they could do it. They could play for hours in their hide and seek with one place to hide.
Yeah.
And we're like, I don't know how they don't figure this out yet.
I mean,
and they're like, okay, you count, and then I'm going to go. And they're like, I think I'm going to go hide in the car. They'll never find me in the car. And then and then the next time another kid's like, think I'm gonna hide in the car.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Well, a few weeks ago, I debuted a segment called Duh, and we've got another episode of Duh coming up right now. When I lived, and
I was looking at there's something going on in the chat.
We've got a lot of people chatting. Unfortunately, I can't read any of it.
Yeah, I think we had a spammer in there, but Chris scared him away.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So when I lived in Tennessee, there was a store called...
What?
The store is called Floors to Go. Floors to go. You go and you buy your floors, and they're to go.
And then you get out.
I always wanted to go and order some. And like, you know what? Instead of getting them to go,
I'll just have them
right here. Like, of course they're to go.
How much do you tip a floor?
Duh.
If you eat it, yeah.
When I go to, whenever I go into a restaurant and they ask, what do you want? Or is it for here to go? And I tell them that. And I still tell them when they ask, what's the name, sir? And I just tell them Mike because it's my middle name, Michael.
Yeah.
And I tell them Mike because nobody can pronounce my name. Nobody can spell my name. It confuses everybody.
That is really weird.
Yeah. And so I was with my kids the other day, and so my oldest says like, hey, Mike, don't forget to get the dipping sauce. I'm like, you got it there, son. I was in Kroger, and they have a new flavor of cookies.
Okay.
One of my just stops from episode 3 or 4 was that they needed to stop with all the flavors.
A new flavor of Oreo?
Of Oreos. Yeah, there's a new flavor of Oreo cookies.
What?
Lady Gaga cookies.
Oh, for fuck's sake. There's another quack you just got out of me.
Lady Gaga inspired cookies.
What the hell does that taste like?
A meat dress? I don't know.
I don't know why.
Does it taste like a giant egg?
We interrupt our show for this important announcement. Congratulations to Jim Boyce, Irritable Dad Syndrome's podcast listener of the week. This has been an important announcement. I'm Dave Lay.
She seems nice.
Academy
She seems like
Award
a nice
winner.
person. Yeah, talented.
But, yeah, she's talented. She's won Grammys and she has an Oscar. And I'm sure she's had number one.
So what the hell does her cookie taste like?
I don't know.
Whoa!
But I can just imagine Lady Gaga sitting around going, "What have I not done? What have I not done? I've got to, because before I die, I want to do everything.
Yeah.
She's probably going to be president of the United States.
Yeah.
She'll be our first female president.
Yeah.
She's already
she sang.
She's already in the
Didn't she sing?
She's already established knighthood.
Okay.
Or whatever. But she's royal because she's Lady Gaga.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
so but she's like, you know what? I think I'm going to inspire an Oreo cookie so I can get an extra, $500 million.
Oh my gosh.
From the Nabisco people. It's a pink and green cookie.
Yeah.
And the box is it shimmers. It's like you're in the middle of an old school disco or something.
Yep.
And I was afraid to buy them. I almost bought them so we could eat them on the show because you remember how exhilarating it was when we ate Zero Bars live.
That was very let's do. You got one more thing. We got time for one more thing.
We got one more thing.
We're right at 1 hour.
We're okay. Well, what do we want to do?
This awkward pause is brought to you by Kenner Toys. America's favorite toys are made at Kenner. Back to you, Mike and Daryl.
This is driving me crazy because I don't know if you've tried to look around in there it is.
Thank you, Chris.
Here we go. From Leslie Hohl, H-O-H-L.
Leslie Hohl. Yeah, I went to high school with her.
Hey guys, it's Leslie Colley Hohl.
Mm-hmm.
Did the 3 names for Darin's sake. His nemesis from way back LOL.
Yes.
Listen, guys, I just want to first tell you I still look forward to each week's episode so much. I have a extremely major new fan that listens each week, my husband, Craig Hohl.
Okay.
He loves your show and listens attentively.
Okay.
Attentively. 4 syllables.
Yeah.
Each week.
Attentive.
Would love for
a lot.
Would love for your to give him a shout out.
Okay.
He is a diehard fan now.
Okay.
I like Die Hard too.
Okay.
He would love to send you both a little something, so we need an address to send you something that you will just love, I promise you. Not one for punctuation, is she?
She was smart in high school.
Once again, thank you for the laughs and smiles we get in this crazy time during this difficult time within our world. God bless you guys.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, that was very nice.
It took her a while to get there, but
thank you, Leslie.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you very much.
I'm gonna put this in the previous. I'll put it in the episode. Let's give him a shout out.
Yes.
So I'm going to give a shout out to Craig. How do you say that?
Hohl.
Craig.
What do you mean? How do you say Hohl?
Look, if the correct pronunciation is Hoel, then I don't want to be the guy that's like, it's Craig Hohl. You know, I get that all the time. Right. It's Craig Hohl. Yeah. And like when I was a kid, everybody's coming with, hey, exactly. I don't want to hear that.
I've got the last name Cox, so I know what it's like to have a last name like Hohl. Yeah. So, Craig, I understand that you're a big fan of the show. Leslie told us about that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's very flattering.
Yeah.
And it's really cool that you reached out to us like that. And so, Craig, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that sincere enough?
I think it was great.
It was. Okay.
I think it was great. I like that. See, that makes my day.
Yeah. I got the new Bruce Springsteen album, and it's phenomenal. And it blows my mind because
how old is the new Bruce? When did it? A
couple months.
Okay.
Here's the thing, because I was talking to the wife and the kids and everything, and I was saying I need to start listening to more new music. I really do, because I was in a Teams meeting with the creative services team where I work. It was my boss and Carrie and Christina and Emmy and all these 20-something women, and then my boss is a little bit older than I am.
Okay.
But my boss has a daughter who's graduating college.
Okay.
So he knows, he's up with all the current music because of his daughter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so they were talking about the Super Bowl, and they said that The Weeknd is performing at the Super Bowl. And I said, I have no idea who The Weeknd is. Yeah. No clue. And I felt so stinking old. And then they're rattling off all these songs. Never heard of them. Yeah. And so I went on.
So your quest for new music led you to buying
the
Bruce
new Bruce Springsteen
album.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Right. Okay. Exactly. Because I got some gift cards for Christmas. Yeah. And so I'm going through and I'm deciding what I want to buy. Okay. And I bought the new AC/DC. I bought the new Bruce Springsteen.
Does Paul Simon have a new one?
No, but I bought Carole King Tapestry.
Oh man!
And I'm like, so I was like, I don't know. I listened to some of The Weeknd. He misspells his name. Weeknd.
Oh, it's a dude named The Weeknd.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not bad. The music's not bad.
Yeah.
But anyway,
is it rap?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not what you'd call hip hop either. It's I don't know what the kids.
Because there's a new I don't like the new rap. I don't, I can listen to anything, but there's a new one that the kids, oh my God, I sound like a grandpa.
I do too.
So back in the day, actually it was 2001, Dre put out his first album in a long time.
Dr. Dre.
I'm sorry. I know.
Please.
I forgot.
Respect, Mike.
But I thought that was great. I liked Snoop's I had one Snoop album. I really liked Eminem. I don't know, for a while there I did.
Yeah.
And then I got out of it, because I'm a rock guy for the most part, but I like everything but country. But
what about Johnny Cash?
Certain things I think transcend country. So I can listen to Johnny Cash.
So say careful.
There's some Hank Williams Jr. I can listen to.
Okay.
I'm not insane.
Willie Nelson?
Yeah, I can listen to some Willie Nelson.
Waylon Jennings?
I can do some Waylon Jennings. I can do some Waylon Jennings.
Okay.
He did the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yes, he did.
So he's in. He's grandfathered in.
Remember the Lollapalooza tour?
Yeah.
Okay, so Lollapalooza went to all these outdoor festivals for 7 or 8 summers in a row. They did Lollapalooza. And the year I saw them, was the year that all the diehard Lollapalooza people didn't go because Lollapalooza sold out.
Yeah.
Because Metallica headlined Lollapalooza.
Okay.
And Lollapalooza used to be a bunch of alternative.
Yeah.
9 Inch Nails and 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah.
I don't know other alternative band. So Metallica headlined.
Yeah.
Soundgarden was on the show.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Mystery Act.
Yeah.
And every week had a Mystery Act.
Yeah.
The Mystery Act the week we went was Rage Against the Machine.
Okay.
So I saw Metallica, Rage Against the Machine, Soundgarden on the same show.
You were done.
Holy crap.
Yeah, you're done at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My buddy Don, who lives in Indianapolis,
Uh-huh.
when Lollapalooza went there, their Mystery Act was Waylon Jennings. So, and nobody knew who the Mystery Act was until he comes up. So, just a good
awesome.
old boy, Waylon's over there. Nobody knew what to do. And so 2 or 3 songs into it, he busts out the Dukes of Hazzard and he won over the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they were like looking at each other like, what the hell is this?
But see, okay, so like my repertoire of music that I like is so, I think, wide open. I like everything.
Right.
Just about. Like I said,
I agree.
I said I don't even like country, and then you named like 3 or 4. I'm like, of course.
Yeah.
If
you look in my...
Kenny Rogers, all that stuff. But I was like, okay, my kids will never come up with any type of music. I'm not going to be the parent that doesn't understand the new music.
Right.
Until the new rap came along. It was like a couple of months ago, I first heard it through, Charlie was watching something, and it's like it's a mumbly, like you're running out of breath. They sound like they're out of breath. I'm gonna have to find some and play it for you.
Like me when I walk up the stairs.
But it's like, and I don't want to go to the thing. I don't want to go to the thing. Yeah. I want to go to the thing. And it sounds it's cool, but I don't. It's not like. It was, it's just weird. It's just out there. And then like the rock, what they're calling rock these days is so like,
right.
Here's the thing. I don't think that anybody that likes music that's popular now has any right to say that anyone ever has sold out, because the music that's popular now is stuff that if you put it in a time machine and send it back to the 90s, we would all be like, that is the biggest sellout, like, compilation album I've ever heard in my life.
I agree.
Because we're walking around with Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, all that stuff going on. And, it's, but I will say that as I've gone through the newer musics, and I include in newer musics anything from 2000 and beyond. Everybody likes their favorite band. So, like, U2 put out an album a couple of years ago. I don't consider that new music. That's just new album from an old band.
Exactly.
But, like, okay, so examples of bands that I got into late that I, was like Muse. I like Muse. Not all their stuff, but some of it.
Okay.
Modest Mouse. I don't know if you've ever listened to Modest Mouse.
I've heard of them, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of it makes you want to claw your ears out with a ball peen hammer.
Yeah.
But other is like really, really good.
Right.
You can do that, by the way.
Well, it was, I can't remember when it was. When did Daft Punk win the Grammy for album of the year?
I don't know.
And I had never heard of Daft Punk.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you anything about them.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, I need to know a little bit about this. So I went out and I bought Daft Punk and Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Pleasantly surprised that I enjoyed both of those albums very much.
Here's the thing.
So I didn't feel so flippin' old then.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Okay, so I think everybody knows that I like Tool.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mentioned before in the episode, I'm annoyed when people are nostalgic about things they couldn't have possibly been nostalgic for.
Right.
Like people in their 20s right now, nostalgic for the 90s. You didn't even know who you were. You didn't even exist yet.
No.
Okay, so there's a bunch of those in the Tool group on Facebook. Talking about how, what it would have been like to be like into music back when Tool started, when Undertow came out, and Opiate, however that you're supposed to, I don't know if it's a verb or a thing. Like how awesome it would have been. And I feel I came on there like I couldn't let it go by. I was like, I was in college when the first official Tool album, it's Undertow. Yeah, there was an EP before, but come on. And you guys, there were like hundreds of bands that sounded like 9 Inch Nails and Tool. I know 9 Inch Nails and Tool don't sound the same. But 9 Inch Nails, let's take 9 Inch Nails.
They're still kind of cut from the same.
Yeah, there's 9 Inch Nails. You had Stabbing Westward. No one even thinks of Stabbing Westward. I had a Stabbing Westward CD because I thought it sounded like 9 Inch Nails.
Right.
I listened to it a few times. It's gone. I don't know where it is. But Tool was a wash in all these bands that sounded Tool-like. So they didn't really stand out. It wasn't until like their second or third album you came out and you're like, oh, literally, those guys are still around?
Right.
I got to see that. I got to hear what this one is. And it's like, okay, that's kind of what they sound like before. And now I love Tool. Again, they're one of my favorite bands.
Right.
Have all their stuff. The latest album came out, was it a year ago? It was a year ago.
Yeah, what you played for me, I thought it was pretty
2
good.
years ago.
Yeah.
Now, geez. And it's amazing. But I can't say that I was huge into them back when they were starting out, because that's what I'm trying to tell these kids on this Facebook group. By the way, I'm a grown man with a family, arguing with kids on a Facebook group about Tool.
Makes you proud.
But it's annoying, and it makes me wonder what bands are there right. What I want to convey to them is there are bands right now that you're not paying attention to because you think everybody sounds like that or that's lame.
Right.
They're the band that is going to be awesome 20 years from now, and you're going to pretend that you were always into them, but you weren't.
You explained that like a few weeks ago or whatever. You were talking about how Pearl Jam was kind of like our generation's Beatles.
Yeah, you guys, you're welcome, by the way.
When we were growing up, it's like our parents talked about, my mom talked about seeing the Beatles when they were on the Ed Sullivan Show. And everybody was losing their minds at their haircuts and this and that and everything else, right?
Yeah.
And but it's like, I don't think that they like had the forethought to think, they're going to be ginormous, the biggest band ever. Well,
there were tons of bands that sounded like Pearl Jam at the time, but Pearl Jam had a thing to them.
Yeah,
you remember when Stone Temple Pilots, everybody accused Weiland of doing a Eddie Vedder imitation?
Exactly.
Then you had Creed.
Exactly.
Everybody had that. Pearl Jam's really the only one that's left.
The first time I heard Higher, I thought it was Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
I did.
So Pearl Jam's the one that stuck. They had talent, and so did Stone Temple Pilots.
Right.
The 90s is a tough decade to pull from because there was like almost everybody was good, but there was a lot of shit out there.
There was.
At the time.
There was.
And it Crash Test Dummies. I mean, they had that one.
You really threw Crash Test Dummies
I did.
into Stone Temple Pilots.
No, he had the same thing. He had a really deep, everybody talked about Eddie Vedder's deep baritone voice.
Right.
And Crash Test Dummies was like the record executives. There's a guy in Fresno that does a song. We really got to get him on a CD.
Crash Test.
And then that was the band that your the girl that you liked in the dorm across the thing, her roommate had a CD called the Crash Test Dummies sitting right next to the CD of the President of the United States of America. Remember them with the Peach song?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Peaches.
There
were, that's what I want to tell these people. It was like, so you go in, Tool was amongst all these. So you get like band fatigue. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. It's a song called Lump and they're not really presidents, but they think it's funny.
Gimmicky, but they were fun.
And then there's a guy, it's like Eddie Vedder, number 382. And Tool, okay, what's their thing? Oh, they've got a pig with a fork in it on the back of the CD. Okay. Well, and then you go on to the next one, and it's not until much later that you see that they're awesome. But some bands have been awesome from the beginning. I will argue that Tool, I'll get a lot of flack from, probably not.
Right.
Tool is not one of those bands. Pearl Jam is.
Yes.
Pearl Jam's one, like the first album hit, and everybody's like, holy.
Yeah.
My God. I'll even say U2 is not one of those bands.
No,
they're my favorite band.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like Joshua Tree or stuff till people were like, holy.
I'll tell you what, when all those bands came around at the time, I remember because in the 90s, I was big into, I loved the Counting Crows. Okay.
I can't stand Counting Crows, but
August and everything afterwards.
Yeah.
August and everything afterwards.
I
listened to that CD 150,712 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Front to back and forth, over and over and over again. Never got tired of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, I was big. I liked Hootie and the Blowfish when they came out.
Yeah.
Right. I would have thought that, and then when Third Eye Blind, Cracked Rear View by Third Eye Blind, that CD, another one that I listened to over and over and over. I would have thought one of those three bands would have went on.
Yeah,
it's like you don't realize what's gonna happen. But it's like I would have thought one of those bands would have been more successful than some of the other bands that prevailed.
Well,
but God, if Pearl Jam didn't prove me wrong, and now and Lord. 10.
Yeah,
I listened to 10 100,058,000 times too.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Okay, so I have in that collection over there. There's a Brendan O'Brien remix of the first 10 album.
Okay,
of the first 10 album, the 10 album.
The 10, yeah.
They basically the first album, the 10 is very heavily produced. he sounds thunderous,
Right.
compared to what Vitalogy and the other ones sound like. So Brendan and Brian did all the production for the later albums.
Yeah.
He went back and redid 10 as he would have done it. And it sounds really cool. It sounds more like classical Rocky.
Yeah.
Not like Rocky Balboa, but more like classic.
What
you know what I mean?
What you mean.
It sounds less like thunderous drums and more like just awesome drums.
Yeah.
It's a really cool thing to listen to. But I want to talk about real quick along the same note is that bands will evolve. So I love Beck.
Yeah.
Beck.
Beck's awesome.
But back in the day, in the 90s, when Beck came out,
He's
Beck was
gimmicky.
cool because he was gimmicky and he had that I'm a Loser song that everybody loved. Beck's later stuff, the last few albums are beautiful. Like, they're beautiful albums. The man's a musician. He's like,
I love when I can't remember the woman's name.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Oh, I was going to say Nine Inch Nails is another one. And the reason this whole thing came to mind is because they just released the Quake soundtrack, which Nine Inch Nails did the soundtrack for the game Quake. And this was back in the 90s when CD games were like a thing. You put the CD into your computer, you played Quake, and it would play tracks from the CD from Nine Inch Nails. They even had a gun in the game, the nail gun, and the ammo boxes for it had the Nine Inch Nails logo on it. And it's one of the most angry albums you'll ever hear. It's like, because it's in a game of like shooting monsters and stuff. And it's Trent Reznor back when Nine Inch Nails was trying to be scary. But then you listen to him now, he started doing like movie soundtracks and stuff. So I love Nine Inch Nails. But if you took the stuff that he's doing now in the past few years and sent it in a time machine back to the angry original Nine Inch Nails fans, they'd be like, he sold out. What is it? Bull.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Beck Loser. I would love to. Some of the people in my dorm that were huge Beck fans because of the Loser song, I wish someone had dropped off in a time machine. Here, listen to this song he made about waking up Sunday with his kid. Here. Yeah. And playing with his kid.
Who was the lead singer of Destiny's Child?
I have no idea.
I can't remember the woman's name to save my life.
I don't know. Beyonce?
Beyonce.
Is it really?
It was Beyonce. Thank you. God.
Jeez.
See people watching and listening to our show.
Yeah.
I'm losing my mind and I'm losing my memory. I forgot.
That's literally the only singer that I don't know what she did.
And I hope Beyonce is happy that I couldn't remember Beyonce. So there was one year when Beck won the Grammy for Album of the Year.
Oh, was it Odelay? The one with the sheep? Okay,
I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, he won the big Grammy of the night.
Yeah.
And there were all these people pissed that Beyonce didn't get it. And the meme that was shot out the next day was, sure, Beck wrote every song, recorded every instrument, did all the vocals and the background vocals. He produced it and he did the artwork. But okay, Beyonce deserved the Grammy for Album of the Year, That was what people didn't realize about Beck when he came out was that
he did everything.
He was multi-talented.
Yeah.
He still is multi-talented.
Yeah. Well, the same thing with Trent Reznor. Yeah. The first Nine Inch Nails album, I think, was one of those. He was doing all himself.
Yeah.
But there were tons of those. There was one, Primitive Radio Gods. The first Primitive Radio Gods album, it's one dude playing everything. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, there's some songs like it's like, okay, that's really cool. But most of them, it's like, all right, it's a dude in the basement doing his thing.
Well, I'll turn this around or to back where we were going from.
Okay.
And then we're going to wrap this thing up for tonight.
Yeah, we went from being a really short window. That's what happens. Rock music comes up and it's over.
Yeah. But no, I was saying that I needed to get into and understand current music.
Yeah.
And so I asked my kid, do you know who The Weeknd is? He's never heard of him either. My son's favorite band is Electric Light Orchestra. His second favorite band, he would probably tell you, is The Cars.
Oh, wow.
And now he's started listening nonstop to Men at Work.
So
geez. He could care less who anybody is right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm kind of proud of him. Although, I mean, but I was going to check it out because I don't want to be that old guy. I don't want to be my dad. My dad used to go just ape when Prince would come on TV on music videos, whatever. And he
got excited because he was a big Prince fan.
No, he wasn't. He didn't appreciate any of my music. He didn't, it's like I loved Billy Idol. He could care less about that.
Yeah.
And he didn't really appreciate the fact that I was a fan of it either. He didn't try to understand my music, to understand why I liked my music. And, Dad loved bluegrass music and playing a banjo. And that's old-timey music. There's no drums in old-timey music. And it's like, and I'm a drummer. I'm like, okay, so Dad, what you're saying is you don't care that I play drums.
I like the music that has none of what you can do.
Exactly. So I'm trying not to be that guy.
Yeah.
And my kid doesn't really care that I'm not that guy because my kid is more on my wavelength.
Yeah.
But I wanted to figure out some current stuff.
Yeah. Well, if you find one that you can tolerate, because it is nice.
I'll let you know.
Should we end this damn thing? It's like we're like an hour 20.
Yeah.
People have passed out carbon monoxide poisoning. Listen to this thing. I don't know what that means.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Irritable Dad Syndrome. We hope you join us next week, and we hope you go to our website and leave us a review. Check out our merchandise section. We've got some pictures that we're posting tonight of our new fan Lisa wearing our You Need to Learn More Words t-shirt. We're very happy that she purchased that, and so thank you very much for that. And we just basically, thank you for listening to the show, and we hope you have a great day.
Yeah.
Shut up!
Well, that was episode 24.
That was episode 24. What'd you think?
Yeah.
Let us know. Drop us a line at irritabledadsyndrome.com. Send us a letter at, what's the post office box number there, Mikey?
14, P.O. Box 1472, Westchester, Ohio. The zip code is 45071. Send us something, because we actually got mail.
Yeah, we'll read it on air.
Yeah, in a few months.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening to this encore presentation, and we hope to see you next week on Irritable Dad Syndrome.
See ya.